The following program is a real estate and mortgage show and does not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of Reality Radio 101, its advertisers and sponsors, or its listening audience. Listener discretion is advised. Good morning and welcome to Your Home, Your Money with your hosts, Randy and Jackie Rodney, right here on Reality Radio 101. To get on board right now, send us an email. Our email address is instudio101@gmail.com. And now, ladies and gentlemen, right to your hosts of Your Home, Your Money, Randy and Jackie.
Hey, where are you?
Rosie is stepping in for me today.
How is everyone? We're getting
Static.
a staticky sound, but it's all good as long as everything sounds good on air there.
It does.
But when we
Oh,
speak,
it's gone.
it's gone. Yeah, nice. Okay. So hello everyone.
Good morning
Yeah,
from our house to you.
yeah, we're doing this.
Grab your coffee, sit down, and wait for Randy to talk.
Oh, is that what we're doing? Well, yeah, we have a couple of dogs on our lap, and it's that kind of a show today. So I guess we might as well talk about the elephant in the room.
What's the elephant in the room?
It's the elephant
There is
in the room. Yeah, there's an elephant in the room. The real estate market is heating up. Like, what is going on? How come? 2 weeks after the Bank of Canada makes an announcement that they're going to hold rates, we started getting 25% of the properties were in multiple offers, and then now we're at 50% of the homes that are getting multiple offers.
But the multiple offers are coming because they're pricing low. It's just
This is
strategy.
true, but that
right?
strategy wasn't working before, and so it's working again. Why is kind of an important strategy now is because the strategies now are what's happening now is that some of the sellers need an urgent sale. So one of the issues that are out there is that that we've been talking about. So it's no big surprise. We've been talking about this since probably June of last year, where people just won't really be able to afford their mortgage payments because of the rate and the pace of which their payments are going up. Looking back on the side story, and I know there's a lot of really, I think, insensitive people out there that are have bought into the establishment and what the establishment is sort of saying, how it's sort of like our fault as people. We got greedy. We were, we were too over leveraged and a whole bunch of stuff like that. And any of you that have followed us for a while, we're not really buying into that. I do agree that we're over leveraged as Canadians, but I do believe that we've been over leveraged for several years. This isn't something that just came because of COVID. COVID kind of made it worse. Because if you can imagine, being stuck in your home 24 hours a day with your significant other and your children all in the same space, trying to live in a house where you normally didn't have to do that 24 hours a day, it can lead to you wanting other spaces that could relieve some of that tension and pressure. So the people had looked to other spaces, and that's when we saw an explosion in urban sprawling. We saw people moving to other areas to get bigger homes for their family. So they would sell their home and go and buy a bigger one for pretty much the same price or the same payments, because the payments were so low. And in some cases, they were saving money. And so, and then, then the Bank of Canada, even though they told all of us that we would be okay to go and do this, they changed their mind. They didn't have, and this is the part that really kind of gets me, my blood. So it puts me in a position where I actually am not able to listen to people's argument because I'm so heated inside when they say that it's not, the Bank of Canada could have never predicted this. Well, I'm so sorry that I can show you proof that they knew of.
That I'm doing actually says where there were signs.
Oh no, but they knew. Come on, they knew. It wasn't just them that knew. I have videos of the head of Bank of Canada sitting down and with parliamentarians, and they were being they were being honest and saying that, if you do this move, that is going to cause some issues with, first of all, liquidity with the Bank of Canada. They had warned them that if you do this, that you personally, the Bank of Canada, will lose a whole bunch of money. And Tiff Macklin said in that video that no, the Bank of Canada, first of all, has never lost money. It has always remitted money to the Canadian government. And that's not something that's ever happened. But meanwhile, that's exactly where we're at today, where the Bank of Canada lost $522 million last quarter and will lose a similar amount or more this quarter. And that's just that. And there's, and so there'll be over $1 billion in losses in half a year, in 2 quarters. There'll be over $1 billion in losses. And he said that no, they never lose money. But it wasn't that the economy shifted and they lost money. It was they lost money all because of the practices, the techniques that they use, the quantitative easing that they did, the marrying of the monetary and the fiscal policies to allow for government to freely spend carelessly the money. And the whole thing about the Bank of Canada is they're supposed to be separate and not married together, because if they do, that causes all kinds of problems. When you overspend, it causes a problem on the other end. Now, we haven't felt the full effect of that, because one thing that that is going to be a side effect of big spending is deflation of money. Our money doesn't value as much. But you know what's really, really weird is that if every country, almost, like, you fathom this thought for a second, if every country does the same thing and overspends at this time, then every country's money is devaluing at the same time. So you're not seeing a big difference between the different values of money. But then I call that like an invisible deflation, because it's happening. It's just not, we're just not seeing it happen so visually, because if only Canada did it, then Canada's money would be in the pooper, because they would have been the only ones, going out and doing this. But because they all did it together, we're not seeing that. But it doesn't mean that it's not happening. It doesn't mean that our dollar is worth less, not worthless. It's worth less. It doesn't mean that we're not like, I know that we're just looking at inflation, but deflation is going to be the big issue here. And what will happen in the end, remember, is all of this money first gets funneled, our government spends it, and they funnel it through to the banks through settlement balances. Like, you can go and you can look this up, or you write in and I'll send you some videos. And that's what
And where do they write into?
and the in studio at
In Studio 101 at gmail.com. In Studio 101 at gmail.com.
And so the thing is that what happened is all the money goes into the banks first. The debt goes into the banks. The Bank of Canada buys it from the banks, and they issue them a settlement balance amount. So this is like, something that the Bank of Canada can withdraw again later. And that's why the Bank of Canada feels that, hey, this is not really printing money, but the bank has all this power now, power being money, that they can go out and utilize. But the banks get it first. And so the banks get it first, and they're distributing it. And as it moves through our economy, that's when we're starting to see the overinflation of money, and they get it at full price. But as the money deflates, and it's going through the economy, we're all getting it at a more you can call it a more expensive rate, because the money doesn't value the same. So if you think this one through, as that money moves through the system, we are actually the people who got it first are the big beneficiaries of it. And as we are running around having to spend 20 to 30% more on goods, that money doesn't have the same value anymore. And so this is really, to me, the crux of the problem. And I do not for the life of me know how Canadians are the problem when you have this big problem sitting there. And that was like one issue. And that has very little to do with you lock up Canadians, let them out of the house, and then they go and spend. That has very little to do with that. And what they're trying to pretend is that when Canadians got out of their house, all of a sudden that killed the system. No, the system was killed long before that. The system was totally destroyed before that, but we hadn't seen the effects of it. So it's really interesting to me how this little mind flip happens. And I guess I can get myself in trouble for having these views. These are unacceptable views. I suggest that for those of you that are listening, that maybe you should turn me off for now, because these views are unacceptable. But I'm going to tell you that the sad part about it is, doing the research, this is what you find out. Like, this is what happens. You find out that the Bank of Canada orchestrated this whole thing, and when he's asked point blank about it, he doesn't really even answer the questions. And then when he sits in the meetings, it's like, well, we understand that we're going to go through some pain, which is, that is really unfortunate that you understand that we're going to go through some pain. Who's going through the pain, by the way? Like, what do you mean we're going to go through some pain? What does that mean to you?
The economy.
That means that people are going to lose their house. They're going to lose their businesses. They're going to lose their livelihoods. That's the pain you're talking about. How about we talk about that rather than just lump it as pain? Because if the banking industry was going through some pain, you could bet your sweet butt we'd be talking specifically about it and cutting them checks. Right? But because it's the people going through the pain, it's just pain. And it's their fault too. They over leveraged, they were greedy, they were this, they were that. You grab little tiny situations, like one of the ones running through the industry right now that's rampant is this lawyer that purchased 2 homes that were a couple of $1 million each. And he put down $400,000 on each home. His wife bought one, he bought one. So this guy is like all the professionals are saying that he is the epitome of the problem. And they're saying
Because
that
he put money into the Canadian
because
economy.
because he put down $400,000 on each of the homes, a little bit of speculation. Okay, fine. So you may not win on speculation. And I understand the argument that he signed the contract and all that. But as I said, that's a scam. And I don't know if it's the difference between being black. I don't know, because I really don't, because in our world, we see that as a scam. If you go and you have, 5 watches and you go and sell one guy in the room the watch for $100, then go to the next guy and say, I sold it to him for 100, so you'll get a deal at 75. And you sell it to him for 75, and you go to the next guy, you see that guy's paid 100, that guy paid 75, you can pay 50, and the next guy pays 25. Okay. No, I'm just saying that's a scam. Okay, that is a scam. And the people who bought the watches aren't the people who are at fault. It's the scammer in the room selling these fake watches and using whatever. And that's what Madame Home did. Like, I just can't believe that everybody's on this side.
Do they not? And like, listen though, when you buy a house today in February, you can't really expect it to be not change up or down, up or down.
Yeah.
For like months later when other people come in to buy something else.
The problem is, I understand that he signed the contract at that price, but my point was with the watches is that the watch was worth $25. So the other people were scammed. Madame Homes selling a home for, let's say, $2.4 million, and then actually the market changes and all of a sudden they can sell the same home for 1.7. How the heck does that work? I thought you were just getting a profit on the home. Is that not gouging? Like, we're talking about, during a time of mass hysteria and that, you're not allowed to go out and buy diapers for $5 from the store and go in the streets and sell them for $10. That's illegal. But isn't that what Madame Homes was doing during the time where everybody was kind of going crazy in real estate? They went and jacked up a $1.7 million home to $2.4 million.
Isn't that what everybody did?
No, they usually have. I don't agree with that argument, because this is the problem that I have with this, is that Madame Homes is supposed to have their profits built in, and it's not like you say, oh well, hey, we can make an extra 4, 5, 6, 700,000 because the market has gone crazy. I don't know.
Okay, so are you saying? Let me ask you a question.
For the builders, yeah.
Oh, okay. So you're saying for the builders, they shouldn't be allowed to go with market value at the time? Because that's really what you're saying, right? You're saying it was okay that he bought it at the 2.5 million, but now the houses have gone down to, let's say, 2 million. It's not okay for the price to go down. But it's okay for the price to go down. It's not okay for the price to go up.
What I'm saying is this, that they're going to gouge that guy, right? Now that guy has to go and sell his home or do whatever, but he has to compete against Madame Home selling it for 1.7. They can't close on that home. It's not possible.
Not what I asked.
No. Here you got to understand where I'm coming from here.
Okay. I'm asking you something though.
Okay, go ahead. Ask me it again, and I'll just get. But ask me yes or no, and then I'll hit you with it.
It's market value. Things change depending on the market. Okay, like
that's not how new homes work.
Last year our house was worth 1.6. So if somebody bought it for 1.6 and then they have to sell it, and now it's only 1.4, what are you going to tell them? No, you have to pay 1.6. That's what I paid.
Actually, it's an excellent. That's excellent.
The market changes.
I understand. That's excellent. And what I would say to you is that is a completely different situation than this situation. This is why I'm saying this.
The cost of building went up.
Right. And that's my point. That is part of my point.
At that time, they had to adjust the price of the house. I'm like,
okay. Do you want me to answer you now?
I'm not saying that I agree with what I'm saying.
I understand.
I'm being the devil's advocate here.
All right. So for you people at home, I would like you to write in and let me know if this is how your discussions go with your wife. She asks a question that doesn't let you answer it. I'm not sure. But here's the thing. I'm going to answer it
We've been
now.
talking for 20 minutes
Yeah,
straight.
yeah,
You
that's
think you're
what I
on the
do.
Randy rant. This is not, this is your home, your money.
That's what I do. Okay, so here's the thing. Let me answer that first. So if our home's worth 1.6 and we sell it and then it's worth 1.2, let's say, and then the person, can't close on it, that is a different thing. And the reason why that's
No, I didn't say they couldn't close on it.
let's
You twist
okay.
my question.
All right. Do you want to refrain it?
No,
then
I don't, because
Okay,
you're
so
not
then let me
getting it.
no, I do get it, but you're not letting me finish what the comparison.
But the comparison is not what I said. I just said if they put it on the market to sell it. I didn't say
Okay.
they can't close it. They
I don't
closed
think
it.
it's even relevant, but I'm gonna try because you're working on little nuances that mean something to you that I don't think means anything in the particular argument, but it's just because I'm not seeing it. Here's the thing, is that if we list it for 1.6, sell it for 1.6, and then that person buys it, and then you're saying the person now has to sell it for 1.2, is that not the same thing? And I'm saying that no, it's not even close to the same thing, because we didn't build a bunch of homes to sell at 2.6 or 1.6. And then when the person bought that for 1.6, before they can even close, we're selling the rest of them for 1.7 because the market shifted.
So
That's the difference. And so that person, Jack, that person's house no longer could ever close because they can't get a mortgage for 2.4 to 1.6 or whatever. They can't, because all of the comparables that you personally have put on the market are bringing down that price. So you're forcing that person into a loss, and there's got to be something wrong with that. That's just not right. I understand if Mattamy Homes, okay, this is where I would understand Mattamy Homes' position if they had it a little different. If they actually had it sold to the gentleman for, let's say, $2.4 million, and the market shifted, now Mattamy Homes has a liquidity problem. They can't sell the homes for 1.7 and make money, because they normally only have a normal profit margin. You can't tell me that they just had an extra 4, 5, 6, $700,000 in profits and they can still sell it for 1.7 and make profits. So then they'll go ahead and compete against the people that they've already sold to. That to me means that Mattamy Homes is just not responsible. You should never buy from Mattamy Homes, because you don't know if they're going to turn around and absolutely go against, make it impossible for you to fulfill your contract.
okay,
You're a builder, you have a profit margin that you're trying to obtain, and it's not a gouging because the market has changed. So you say, oh, well, we can get an extra 600,000 for these homes. No, that money is that's price gouging.
okay,
You
so
can't do that.
can I
There's a
ask-
difference.
Okay, so what you're saying is when a builder comes out with a phase one, let's just, for example,
Mhm.
phase one of a building, lot.
Yeah,
Oh my goodness.
that's God getting you for trying to defend the builders. So
No, I'm not defending them. I'm asking you what you are saying. So you are saying that if it's a builder and they got a phase coming out, let's say 500 homes, the first phase or whatever,
Mhm.
in a subdivision, all of those 500 homes should be sold at equal value pertaining to I mean, obviously they're not all 1 million because you got different styles in that, but that's what you're saying,
different
right? You're
locations.
saying if that came out the same time, then everybody should pay what the lawyer paid.
The thing is that as the builder, they buy the grounds. They chop it up into pieces. The stuff that's on the ravine is worth more. The stuff by the road is worth more. And they work it all out. And then they work out the cost of building it and all that stuff. And then they put a profit in it. And then they add 15% onto the. I'm going
yes
to.
or no, and
I'm,
you
I'm,
didn't
I'm
answer.
going to. I'm going to. Then they add 15% on top of that to anticipate market growth. And then so now they go and they start selling it. That's the model it's not the model of, oh, well, the market has gotten better, so
So-
we're going to now be
Answer
opportunists,
the
and now
question.
we're going to raise our prices $700,000.
Yes or no?
That is
Answer
wrong.
the question, yes or no? Answer the question. Can you just
I-
answer it as yes or no, or you can't? You got to go with the soliloquy.
Yes, I need this soliloquy.
Well, answer it. Is that what you're saying? Every house in a phase gets priced once they, determine their costs and their, hold on,
Yeah,
and their profit.
yeah.
And then that home, if there's 10 of them, all 10 of them, whether they sell months and months apart, should be sold for the same price, because it's not fair to the consumer to allow yes or no.
No.
Well, what the hell are you saying then?
Well, what I'm saying is that you can.
Then I missed your 25 minutes of
Okay,
talking. I got
then,
it all
and that's
wrong.
why you force it into a yes or no. So
Because that's
it-
what
it-
you
it-
said at the beginning.
because it
You said yes or no. Do you remember
it
that?
is yes and it is no, but it's a
This
bigger
guy.
no than it is with the little bits of yes in there. They can increase their price, okay? Because that's what they typically do over time.
Yeah.
And so that's okay. Over time, labor can get more expensive and things like that. Material can get more expensive, and they need to adjust for that. They need to adjust for time and carrying costs and that. So prices can get more expensive over time, but they can't just go, oh, the market exploded. We're going to sell that for $1 million more now because they're being opportunists on the marketplace. That is wrong. That's the part that's wrong. I'm not saying they can responsibly increase their prices, but they just like I can't go and buy the diapers for $5 from the grocery store and take them out to the street and sell them for $10.
So-
That's not allowed. That's
So-
against the law.
So the
During times
builders, so the builders can't do it, but the normal public, when market value goes up, can do it.
the normal public is
I'm
a
just
difference.
thinking-
There's a
Wow,
big
he
difference.
actually answered it with a yes.
There's a big difference. It's a huge difference.
Gary,
The-
do we have any emails?
The public is doing, the difference is, I just want to say this.
Oh,
The difference is, because this is important, because she's just not going to grab me, but I know you gentlemen out there and women out there may catch this one. The difference is that when Joe Public sells their home, they are selling at current market value. When the builder is selling it, he is selling a product. He's selling a product not at current market value. He never was at current market. He's selling it at a profit. And so that he can't just go and absolutely double, triple his profit margins on an opportunist scale and then turn on the people who he sold to because the market changed.
okay, but if those people were to do an assignment sale and sell it when the market went up, so now they're doing the same thing, and many people do that.
They're
Many people
individuals.
buy and they sell before it's even finished.
They're individuals,
So
and
companies
here's
should be treated
no,
differently than individuals.
no, yes,
Yeah.
yes, Jack, because during a time of crises and that, we're not allowed to go, and you're not catching this, buy $5
Oh my gosh,
diapers
I caught it.
and go onto the street and sell $10.
I caught it.
$10.
I
So
caught
if
it.
we're not allowed to do it and become that kind of a business, they're not allowed to do it, Jack. That's what I'm talking about. And that's totally different. Now,
No, let Gary do.
no,
emails.
one
Oh
more
my
second.
goodness.
One more second. So the thing is that with the builders, when they switch from using their profit model to being opportunists on the marketplace, and then if the market, and that's wrong to start with. And then number two, you have to catch the nuance in there. And number two is that when the market shifts downwards and they can flex that no problem with no profit loss almost. And then so they're now turning on everybody that they wrote contracts with. They should have a responsibility in that. Because that's all just clean profits and it's wrong.
Listen.
I'm sorry, I
Yeah,
understand where you're coming from.
No, hey.
But
hey,
I'm against
okay.
it. It's just wrong.
So I'm just, like I said, I'm not saying that I agree with everything that I'm saying. I'm just giving out scenarios. So another scenario, when a builder decides the profits and all that, then they are putting in to that equation what they paid for the material at that,
Yeah,
right?
right.
So you telling me that if they're building 500 homes, they buy all the materials at that one point before they even sell anything, or going through the different times, do they pick up some material after? Of course they do, because can they afford to go out there and do a subdivision without any influx of money from sales? So they have to buy the material at an up cost.
Okay, fair enough.
Wait, no, I want emails, because if people are
Yeah,
talking
but I
about
want
this,
to
I wanna
answer
be-
that. I do
No,
want
I
to.
wasn't, sir.
Well, it
One
is.
question.
Did I not talk about this earlier? Did I not
Oh,
say that
boy.
if their costs go up, if there's time because they're carrying mortgages and stuff like that, they can adjust for that during those periods. But it doesn't allow you to then say, "Oh, the market's doing amazing. Let's just be opportunists and then gouge everybody we can." And then if the market fluctuates, you suckers, and now you're selling your product for less, and those people can't close because you set a new low precedent where it's impossible for them to close. You have a responsibility too as a builder to help those people that you just sucked into buying your homes. And what Mattamy Homes is saying, no, we don't. We can undersell them, and it's too bad. They got to come up with the money. They signed a contract, and I just think that's ruthless and wrong. And I'm sorry. I'm a capitalist. I believe in capitalism, but it has to be with a certain level of respect for humanity and opportunity. Gary, give us those emails.
Whoa, he's stopping.
All right, folks, you're listening to round 3 of Your Home, Your Money. If you'd like to write in right now, we'd love to hear from you. Our email address is instudio101@gmail.com. And Bob V did that. Let me just pull this up. He says, "Hey, Your Home, listening to you again, enjoying the show with my late breakfast." And he sent this beautiful picture of eggs, bacon, toast, pancakes.
Wow.
Very nice. Thank you very much for that.
Wait, Bob, you're out eating that, right? Your wife didn't do that, right?
Yeah.
Bob, that sounds like a good breakfast. I wish I was eating
Oh,
that.
wait till you see the picture. I'll be forwarding that to you later.
If
Gail
you
wrote
go to
in.
the White Apron in Oshawa, you can get that.
Just can't afford to do it.
Can't afford it. Gail wrote in, and Gail says, "Hi, what does over leverage mean?" You want to answer that, or read? Or should I read them all?
Sure. Over leverage is simply that if you're buying a house for $1 million, and you're putting down $200,000, so you have a mortgage of $800,000, and that mortgage costs you $5,000 a month, and you really should only be spending about $4,500 a month. You are over leveraged now. So, and you do that with a variable mortgage because you couldn't have purchased the home with a fixed mortgage. You wouldn't have qualified. The variable mortgage rate was so low, it allowed you to qualify. Now you got into that home, you are over leveraged. So now when the market shifts and then starts piling on interest rates, there's absolutely it exceeds your income and you have no disposable income in order to be able to carry the
Which
home
is
now.
exactly.
You have no
leading
flexibility.
into
No,
my
no, we
story.
have more emails.
No, we don't.
Yes, we do. Go ahead, Gary.
Yes, we have several. Rachel wrote in, "Hi to Randy and Jackie. I do not believe anything that the Bank of Canada or their representatives say or do about anything. They are crooks and thieves." That's from Rachel.
Hey,
Thank you,
know
Rachel.
what? You gotta tell it the way it is,
No,
right?
I'm not
You
going
gotta
to.
tell it the way it
I'm not
is.
going to side with that one. I do not believe they're crooks and thieves. However, I do appreciate
You know
how
what she's
Rachel.
talking about.
I do appreciate how
It's
feels.
play on words, like you
Yeah,
know, they're
I
which
do-
is true because none of them are suffering. They're not suffering. They're
No.
still in their big homes.
Yeah, and
living life.
and that's the sad part of it. And you know what's sadder? When you are bankrupting people, causing them to lose their homes and that, and you call that, "Oh, I know we are going through some pain." That does make me mad.
But
But
he says we as a country, we
No,
as a
I
but
understand.
I get it. The government's never going through pain. They're just going to constantly, whatever comes to them, they push it all back on us.
And
right?
so Rachel, the reason why I can't side with those words is that we're in an industry where we rely on these structures to guide our industry and our economies. So we have to have respect for them the same way we would have to have respect for our parents, and even if our parents aren't necessarily right. So I don't honestly believe that. I honestly do not believe that they're crooks and thieves. 1 second, sweetheart. With all my passion, I don't believe that. But I do believe that the notebook that they're coming from, the structures that they're coming from, are not designed for people. They're designed for systems and all that stuff, and therefore we get eaten up in it. I believe that they're honest people, but the playbook is such.
That's funny, because they're supposed to be working for the people.
Well, here's the thing.
So when you just said that, it was kind of like, yeah, they're not really working for the people.
Well, I read an article the other day. I didn't bring it to that was all about how realtors are ripping off people and hurting the economy with pricing homes low and having people bid on them and all that stuff. So, and they were, they're saying that the realtors were crooks. And I know personally, and you could talk to anybody who knows me, I'm a realtor and I'm not a crook. So, but I understood where the article was coming
You're
from.
not. You stole my heart, you crook.
Yeah. So, stole your heart. That's good. That's actually pretty good. But I kind of get it. And so, and I understand how certain industries at certain times with certain practices aren't, doesn't allow it to be fair to the people. It strangles the people, just like our
then
policies.
Maybe when the Bank of Canada comes out, maybe there should be something that the government came out along with it saying, for people, lenders, you can only increase this much. You can only increase a certain amount so that they're not killing people. Maybe they should have came out and said that.
I think personally, they just need, they need to have a it's like you flip a coin, it lands heads, the tails lost. You flip the coin again, it lands tails, the heads lost. So it's not that they are trying to destroy the heads or destroy the tails. It's just kind of what happens in the process, and it's really unfortunate. But it should still be okay for us to call it out. It shouldn't be an unacceptable view because we see that tails has lost. And but on the other side of it, here's something that's really interesting. The government's really concerned about affordability and all that for Canadians. We talk about fair housing and all this stuff. But meanwhile, they just jacked up the taxes and added new taxes and did all this stuff with no consideration about how much more it costs to live in Canada, how much more it costs to live in the GTA. There's no consideration for that. We just got to do this, regardless of the language in which we speak. So I can 100% understand where you're coming from, Rachel. I really do. I just think it's a lot more nuanced than that. And it's really unfortunate. I do not believe that Tiff is in any way a crook. But I do believe that the policies that he has to bring on to people are very kind of dangerous to a good portion of people at certain times. And I think there should be somebody there that when you flip that coin that lands heads, that is looking out for the people who are on the side of tails. Because really, these are just policies. And for them to go out destroying all the tails because the coin happened to last heads is wrong. But that's kind of how the policies are played out right now. So just like if the banks went under right now and they lost all of their money, some liquidity problem, they cut them a check. We should be looking at helping the people that the system is destroying. Not these people are just victims of a system that's eating them, and there should be something in government that's there to help to support them like they would support the banks. That's my take.
Woo! Okay, hurry up, Gary, before he talks again.
All right. Right now we have three more. Let's see. Hank wrote in. Hank says, hi to Randy and Jackie.
Hi,
I am
Hank.
a cross listener, not a cross dresser, to Randy's
Cross
real
listener.
estate shows. Wow, this sounds like Randy's rant. I love it.
And did I not say that? Thank you, Hank. I
That
don't
was
even need to
Hank.
be here.
All
Well,
right. Let's
you are, and you make it much more fun. We get to fight on air. People get to see this is our real personality. I pretty much am very, very aggressive. My wife is passively aggressive. So we have this all the time, and we are total opposites. We see everything different. I'm black, she's white. I'm tall, she's small.
That's supposed to be short.
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 She
if you're
wears
doing-
glasses. I have supervision.
Okay, yeah.
I have big luscious lips. She's
Okay, Gary, you better turn
Yeah,
it into
before-
some other
all
kind of-
right.
male, she's female. She got long
Sherry,
hair, I got no hair. Look what I was just going on.
Sherry wrote in and she says, hi, Rodneys. Did you see that our PM went to Nassau, Bahamas a couple of days ago when Parliament here wanted him to stay in Canada since the Illegal Emergency Acts report came out about the truckers' strike? His handlers wanted him out of the country, so they set up a speech for him to talk at a conference in the Bahamas. Here we are with the most important part of Canada's history, using the Emergency Act outside of war, and the PM isn't here to respond to questions from all parties. Chicken shit.
Yeah, I purposely have stayed away from that whole thing so that my mind can be clear to work on the many problems that I have. He already did that. I understand that he's already testified. I really don't know if anything is going to come from it. I think it was deadly wrong what he did. And as a matter of fact,
Yeah, but he's not, it's nothing's gonna come of it.
I don't think so. And for me, my turning point with that whole thing was when he would not even go out and talk to the truckers. I thought, wow, is this real? Why would you, like, I don't understand. They can be as mad as they want. He's handled hard situations before, but in this case, situation, you wouldn't even talk to them. That was, to me, was one turning point where I was kind of neutral on, wasn't that crazy about him. Kind of wish I didn't. Yeah. Anyways, I kind of wish I wasn't on his side, sort of thing. But after he did that, I was hurting, and then I was hurting inside. And then when it really took a toll on me is when he called my views unacceptable views. When my views on COVID and on getting the vaccine and on the handling of COVID were considered unacceptable, when I thought that my views were much more logical than his, and I realized that probably only 30% of the population was on my side, let's say at that time, much higher amounts now. Now that everything's coming out, but at that time, not a lot. And then when I was considered unacceptable, I was actually scared because he was then putting the Emergency Act in where he could close down people's bank accounts and stuff.
What did they do? Were they out there killing people?
Mm.
Were they out there, was there war going on in the streets? Like, isn't that what the emergency services are
if
for?
I may, we had a
Disasters?
if I may, we had a correspondent here on reality radio, Lou and Ann Devano, who have a political show here twice a week, and they went out there and did live reporting several weeks. And what they reported on live, now remember, you can't BS lie because we're open to libel, right? They were reporting that the truckers were removing snow. They were supporting the businesses. Some of the businesses, the smaller businesses, have said, we haven't had this much profit in years for selling food, this and that. They were playing hockey in the streets. They were feeding homeless people. They weren't violent. At night, they were quiet. They helped people with their snow removal. The economy went way up in Ottawa. And the mayor of Ottawa reported deep down, they had no major problems with the truckers whatsoever. That came not only from my staff of people that went out there for 3 weekends in a row, but also a lot of the good publicity that the truckers got. So the whole thing was a farce, reporting that everything that was wrong, and I heard it from the horse's mouth with video and audio. And
Okay,
we have one more email here.
cool.
This is from Carla. Carla says, "Who the hell is Madame Holmes?"
They're
Very
a huge new
Is
home
she
builder.
joking? Is she joking about maybe?
Well, she
No.
might be from the States or something,
Oh,
right?
okay, yeah.
They're a new
They're one of
home
the
builder.
bigger,
Well,
yeah.
they're a big builder here with a great reputation. They build some really good homes.
Yeah.
So I'm not going after their construction or anything. I just think that like I said, the whole diaper experience, I can't during a time of
Okay.
crises.
Here.
I cannot go and buy diapers for $5 and take them to the streets and
The
sell them for
big thing
10.
was paper
That's
towels, by the
illegal.
way.
Paper towels, toilet paper, any of that stuff. That's all illegal. And then, but how can builders then go and do that at a time, be opportunistic like that? And that's one problem. But the other problem is when the market shifts, then they can actually turn on all the people that they actually sold product to and go back down to their normal profits and still be able to make a profit while they're screwing these people over. They should renegotiate their damn contracts. You know, like be fair, be human. And I can't believe that I have not seen one video out there supporting this guy. Yeah, he might have been trying to make money and stuff like that, but he's a human being. That's what we do. We go out and we try to make money so that we can come back home and then take that money and buy our family food and buy our family clothes.
So that was his intention
So,
when the houses were to sell them?
I don't know, possibly, but maybe
he
not.
got
But
them for his kids later in life.
I
maybe,
don't
who knows?
even think it matters. The problem is, okay, in normal circumstances, I understand you get caught in the middle of a transaction and you lose money, fine. But when the builder is the one that you're competing against, you buy it from them and you haven't even closed and they're selling them for hundreds of thousands of dollars less the same product, that's a problem. And I don't believe that not one realtor out there agrees with me. Even my wife doesn't agree with me. The mortgage agents don't agree with it. None of the professionals in the industry agree with me. I still think it's very wrong.
I did not say that I didn't agree with you. You know what?
It when you do that, it bangs over the air. So that's all.
Bang you over the air, as they call it.
She's banging on the table, and I know it's sending a base through the air. So I'm trying to stop her.
Anyways, now you can't.
Good. So what you were saying, sweetheart, is that no, you're not against me.
You're not say that. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Sorry.
And that's good because I don't want to get in trouble for having to, go after you after the show. Now that you've cleared that up, I'm going to be nice to you.
Going out on an appointment after the show, so you're not getting no bacon and eggs.
Oh shoot! Maybe I'll change my view then.
I just sent those emails to you. If you open up your personal email, you can see those bacon and eggs.
Okay,
Ooh,
okay.
Let's see then.
And then you've got an article to do. You got 12 minutes, babes.
One more email, if I may.
Okay, bring it in.
Really quick. Walt wrote in and he says, Randy is a crook. He is stealing Jackie's airtime. Everyone's a comedian. Very good. Thank you.
There's no way
that Randy's getting this at home.
No. And
Not
I don't
happening.
even believe he's getting that. I think he took that off the net. That's too perfect.
I think I'll
And
go
look,
wake up the kids and take them.
And a glass of orange juice. A glass of orange juice and everything in
Yeah, well, but
too
someone,
perfect.
even if you took something off the net, because I get those things constantly, it was somebody's breakfast that they took a picture and put it on the net. So whatever that is, that I was looking at that as well.
Picture perfect.
It's picture perfect, but man, does it look good, except the butter.
Yeah.
I like butter.
Yeah, a heart attack in that plate.
No, I
I'm
wouldn't have a heart
joking.
attack. Okay, well, it's not very funny. Work on your jokes. Let's get the video. or your
You think you're funny?
article. Yes, I
He
do.
thinks he's funny.
I do think. I'm
Okay,
funny.
so my article went along a little bit with what Randy was saying, where now people can't afford, and here's a prime example that this couple back in March last year, which they bought at the peak pretty much of what was going on last year with all the hikes in price and everything. And I think, first of all, that they got some really bad advice from friends in that, because friends kind of convinced them that you need to buy now, get in the market now, which maybe it wasn't the right time for them. So what's happened? Why are you putting that closer to me?
Going with your ad.
Anyway, so they bought a 3-bedroom home in London, Ontario, with the hopes, of getting into market, but to start raising a family, they were going to start their family and all that. And what happened was, when they were obviously on a flex payment, right? Am I saying that right?
Variable mortgage.
Variable. I was going to say that, but I thought it was. And anyways, their mortgage payments, what's happening to this couple now, and the funny thing, I think their mortgage payments were $2,200. 16. So their mortgage payment went from $1,600 to $4,400 in a month, like for a month. Okay. These people, they make $140,000. They bought the home for $730,000. And now they can't afford the house, because they are paying they make $8,000. Let's sum it up. Okay. Between the two of them a month, they make $8,000, and their expenses now with the new mortgage amount is $7,800. That's not including food or anything like that. So they have $200 a month on food to feed 2 people.
But that's including car payments, property tax.
Well, that's what I said. Their expenses minus food. You're not listening. Anyways, so the problem is that these guys, they're saying, they came to Canada, they're immigrants to have a better life, and now they can't really, but they bought the house, they renovated the house, they did, all kinds of stuff like that. And now they're driving Uber Eats and different things on the weekend to make up money so they don't lose their home at this point. But so when you think about it, like it's like you said, it's the same thing what's going on with the builders, right? Pricing up, pricing down. To me, I think there should be something out there saying that, this is their mortgage payment is almost tripled. Come on, like this is ridiculous. Who is going to be able to afford that? So now what the Bank of Canada is doing is forcing people out of their homes.
I didn't read that article. I would like to dig into that whole mortgage part a little bit. Yeah, it sounds like a pretty hefty increase.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds pretty hefty. So I'd like to know.
Their house value dropped by $150,000.
It says, yeah, and that's an issue. And it says that I'm seeing there that they had in $1,600 more than they had anticipated. It says that their payment wasn't $1,600.
Oh, sorry.
So they're paying $1,600 more than anticipated. So I think some of the numbers that you may have given may have been a little bit different. However, the point is the same, is that they went from having one experience where they thought they were going to have a happy ever after, and now they're working 2 jobs in order to support their lives. That is unfortunately part of the Canadian dream. It kind of sucks, but it is part of the Canadian dream, in the sense that when times get tough, we have to rise to a new occasion. So I really feel bad for them, but I also do think that what they should do is that they should go to their bank and show their bank their numbers. And if their bank doesn't readjust their payments, then they should go to the insurer, if it was CMHC or whoever it was, and have an advocate there that would allow for them to especially if they're in a position where they can lose their home, allow for them to be able to keep their home at a payment, even if it increases the principal balance. So they're going to have, a low
Paying more
payment.
on the interest.
Yeah, because the again, this is like cutting a check for the banks that went under. We've done that before, and so we now sort of like cut a check for the homeowners. They don't want to lose their home,
No. I mean,
but they're going to lose their home if the machine continues to attack them in this way. And so right now, I am telling you from experience of people that we're dealing with, this is the process that we help them to be able to keep their home. Because if you can keep the payment at a rate that they can afford the home, they will keep it, and they will make their payments on time. They will do 2 jobs to make everything work, and they want to get back on track.
but here's my thing, why in the beginning, I said, I think they got bad advice from friends and that who said, oh, just get in the market, just buy anything. That's what, at least that's what the article says, okay? So my, oh my goodness. So my thing is that once they paid all their expenses, except for like living expense, right? Let's say like food and that, they had less than $2,000 a month to live on. Isn't that very little? Like, am I wrong? Is that like, tell me, is $2,000 a month to have, is that a low amount once you pay everything except for your food and whatever you're doing? I don't know. It seems low to me that maybe it wasn't the right decision for them at the time anyways.
Yeah, and these are all part of the consideration.
Which is why don't listen to friends and family when you're trying to get in, whether it's a mortgage or whatever. Go to a professional and see if it's the right time for you. Because if it's not, this kind of situation can happen. Yeah, there was a time when we said, just get in the market, just get in there. But that was when prices were low. And we were like, get yourself a house, get rented out, do whatever. But in the heat of the market, people telling them just get in, I don't know. I think it may have been a bad decision in the beginning.
Yeah, so I don't know if I'm going to go back that far to decide if they made a bad decision or not. They're in the situation.
Maybe.
I would like to sort of move forward and see how they could be helped. And to me, it sounds like their situation is a helpable situation.
Yes.
So
Yes.
Personally, I think, with the right guidance and the right people there, okay, they've got the storyline. And this is one thing. If you're going to attempt this maneuver, it's really important that you build the storyline to be able to capture what is needed by you, what information is needed for your bank and the CMHC. And basically the philosophy is this: one is that you're going to lose your home, okay, if they continue with this system attack on you. So that's one. And which means you can't afford this new pricing structure that they've thrown at you. And two is that if you do lose your home, and this one's also very important, that they are going to lose money. And so when you have those two, it sort of motivates them to say, well, if we continue to go after them this hard, we're just going to cause ourselves a financial harm. So it's better that we work with them and try to defer the financial harm. And maybe these people will be responsible and they will take us through this so that there is no loss. So, and one of the problems here is, depending on how much you put down, the bank has no, sometimes this is why I said that you got to go to your bank first. And if they're not willing to help you, then you go to the insurer. Don't give up there, because the thing is that the bank doesn't take a loss on the property. Even if the property sells for a loss, the bank gets out of it unscathed. They have insurance on it. So sometimes there's not a lot of motivation there, but right now there is discussions between the banks and the insurers, and the insurers have given them guidelines to which they can readjust mortgages. So a lot of people don't know this, but they've given them those guidelines. So the banks will look at it. But if you don't fit inside that, then you got to go to the insurer, because the insurer is the one that's going to lose the money. And they have a stronger motivation to get the bank to help you so that they don't take a loss. So remember that dynamic. Don't feel totally overwhelmed. If you need help, we're not just here to buy and sell homes. However, that is how we make our living, but we're also here to help. And we consider it just as valuable for us to help someone to save their home as to help someone to sell their home. Those two are equally as valuable to us. I know one we don't make money on and the other one we do, but listen, we're not in this only for money. We're in this because we actually love what we do and we love people. And
were there any emails quickly, Gary, before we go?
There are not.
Oh,
okay, perfect. So thank you very much for listening in today. And I enjoyed it. I wish my wife would say less, but just kidding. It's been your home, your money, and our
Reality
lives.
Radio.
And our lives.
And our lives.
On realityradio101.com. Bye for now.
Thank you for listening to Your Home, Your Money with your hosts, Randy and Jackie Rodney, right here on Reality Radio 101.